everybody, welcome back for another episode of October's Vlogtober here Planning with John. I'm John. If you are new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. And I've got a few things here on the table. One thing that I do is I have to track this. This is the temperature I just took, and I need to put it in my planner for my weekly tracking for Symphony for the COVID test. Okay, so in yesterday's video, 98.1, I had talked about, having to take the test for work. And a lot of people, well, just two, but I'm not here to discuss or argue with you whether you think that COVID is real. I'm not here to, I still can't believe people still think that, even though the president got it. I'm not here to think that it is a conspiracy theory. I don't think that it was something that was put here by, what's his name, Bill Gates, and George Soros is paying for all of it. I'm not here for that, okay? The organization that I work for has a policy, and the policy is 2 weeks before each concert, we have to take our temperature in the morning and in the evening and keep track of that. Then, in order to show up at the first rehearsal, we have to have a COVID test, and it has to come back negative. And that is their policy. And if I don't agree with that, or not that I don't agree with it, if I don't follow the company's policy, this is a private company, it's a symphony orchestra, if I don't follow their policy, then I don't work. So if you have a problem with that, that's on you. I have to do what I need to do in order to make sure that we have money in our accounts, and that we have food on the table, and we have rent being paid. And if me writing down my temperature and saying I took a COVID test is earth-shattering for you, then that's on you, because said it. It happens every time I post a video where I say that, and it's a disease, it's a virus, it's out there. So, there we go. So, I've got some thumbs down now, I'm sure, and I got some people that unfollowed, and that's fine if we are meant to part ways, because I'm trying to help take care of my family the way that I can in these crazy times, then that's on you. So I was doing some journaling today, but it was this afternoon, and then I got a message from the church that I played a recording session for today, where it'll be on their service that will air tomorrow online. I might link it here, I might not. I look horrible in the video. I sound great, and the organist sounds great, and it's a lovely service. But I look horrible, and that made me, it made some of my old thought process come back, my old anorexic, bulimic stuff. It's like, okay, don't eat, just drink this, just do that, and we can get down to a skinny weight. And I had to say, no, stop, there's a better way to do that. So I have this empty tool cover and rings, and I had an extra set of the dividers, since that one pack came with 10, so a total of 2 sets. So one thing that I did is I printed the Peanuts Planner Co. monthly calendar. I printed a second one. I have one in my teaching tool disc thing, and so I wanted to put one in here in my this notebook, and I've printed a few items. I printed my inbox, my monthly, my notes, and a blank one, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. And then I printed a few weekly inserts from Peanuts Planner Co. I think I've got to check the alignment on my printer. It doesn't look like it's quite right. I printed her grocery guide. I think that was all I printed. And I printed the weekly in a couple of different ways, with the lines, with the grid, and blank. I wanted to see which I liked. I have a feeling I'm going to like the lined or the grid the best. The blank is just a little bit too much freedom. So, here, wait, let me get the keyboard out of the way. I was watching some YouTube videos of figure skating. They're still having all of these competitions in Russia. And so on their, you would say channel number 1, I guess how you would translate it, they're airing all of these figure skating competitions. I'm going to take a cup of my tea. Just a little sip. I got a little bit of a sore throat today. It's one of those allergy sore throats where you feel a lot of allergy stuff, all of the pollen in the air. Let's cut these first because these take a little bit more time. So I'm sure you've all seen me now cut. I'm going to make sure that I'm close to, yeah, I'm kind of centered. You've seen me cut my my dashboards. I'm just following the same way. Now there is a way, because they're half letter, where you can print these 2 to a page, but the ones that I wanted weren't next to each other, and I didn't want to go in and reorder them to print, and so I just printed one for a page. So it does create a bit of waste, but that way I'm assured that I've got everything that I need. So let's see. So I had a wonderful time recording today. The organist, I've worked with the organist at it's College Hill Presbyterian Tulsa. That is the church that, see, there's the blank one, very nice. It was College Hill Presbyterian Tulsa that I played at today. And I always like playing there. The minister, Todd, I can't remember his last name, is just always incredibly nice, and always has a positive, uplifting sermon, and is a very, very intelligent man. He knew the music we were playing. I picked, you know, what I thought was some obscure new age music from the mid-90s, I guess. It was music by a group called Secret Garden. I mean, they were popular. They did win Eurovision. They're from Norway, I think. Sorry for that noise. Yeah, they're from Norway. I'd like to see Norway this time of year. I know it's cold, but I'm just thinking of the season change and all the nice hot drinks you can have. I don't know. It's in my mind, in my brain. It's silly, but I would love to visit Europe again if we can ever do that. So I'll talk a little bit about, since I talked a little bit about flute yesterday. I have, let's see, 1 bachelor's degree and 3 master's degrees. I have my bachelor's degree in music. It's a performance degree where you know, you have all of the same requirements that you know, like the English, the math, the science, all of that stuff that all degrees have. and then all of your music requirements. The only thing is I didn't have to take a lot of the education courses. I did have to take like education courses pertaining to flute, but not pertaining to like you know, like methods courses for you know, public school teaching and all of that type of stuff. So I have that degree from Wayne State University. I spent the beginning of my undergrad at Central Michigan University. I spent 3 years there, and then my junior year, I auditioned for the Detroit Symphony Civic Orchestra, which is the Detroit Symphony's training orchestra, and I got in as an alternate that first year and had to travel to Detroit quite a bit for rehearsals and concerts, and then in Michigan in the middle of winter, that is no bueno. It's, you know, just not a very pleasant thing. So inbox, month, notes, good. So, okay, so these are half letter. So this is very simple to print and cut. I'm gonna do 3 at a time. These are all the same file, just different backing. So all you have to do is line this up. Sorry, my light is in the way. Like 14 is close to 5.5. There's 5.5. I'm gonna hold this down. Da-da! So there's the lined version. There's the, I've got quite a few weeks here now. There's the grid version, and then here's the blank version. I'm going to put the blank towards the back because I think I'm not going to like that one the most. But you'll notice that there's quite a few weeks there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 8 weeks of each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry, 12. So there's that, and we'll do the same thing with the grocery guide. And with the grocery guide, I just printed off, what, like 3 double-sided copies. So there's 14, or 5.5 is just a smidge before that. Okay, and there's the grocery sheets. So I did my, backtrack in the story. I went to Central Michigan, but my junior year, being in the civic orchestra, it was a challenge, you know, with the Saturday rehearsal. So I'd have to leave, you know, real early in the morning because it was a good 3.5 hour drive to Detroit from Mount Pleasant, Michigan. So if this is the state of Michigan, the lower peninsula, upper peninsula is up here and is connected to Wisconsin, and you've got your Lake Michigan, all your Great Lakes. Mount Pleasant is like right about here. Detroit is, you know, down here. Port Huron would be here by Huron, you know, the Great Lake Huron. So Detroit is down here. So it was a good, you know, 3.5 hour trip. During winter, if we had a snowstorm, sometimes that would be, you know, it could turn that trip into 5 hours, just, you know, in order to be careful because of the traffic. Oh, yeah, I probably should have cut on the other side, but, well, it's okay. It's just cheap copy paper. So and so with that traveling getting to be, you know, just a bit much, I decided to transfer to Wayne State University in Detroit. And the reason for that is just, you know, for safety, and also that second year I auditioned, I actually got in as a full-time member. So I just wasn't subbing or filling in when needed. I was actually playing every week, every rehearsal. So I transferred, finished my undergrad degree at Wayne State University in flute performance. Then also, one thing that was really good about that is, you know, being in the civic orchestra, you know, we got free tickets to see the Detroit Symphony. So every weekend, you know, Saturday, we'd have rehearsal, rehearsal, master class, practice sessions. Sometimes those were the days that my teacher that played in the symphony would give us lessons. And then, you know, we'd all go out. Well, a few of us would go out, us college kids that are from the area would you know, go get something to eat at a really cheap, not too far near away place, and put that away, and then go to see a concert. So it was a really great place to be, and so I was there for a good 2 years, and there was so much more music happening in the middle. I'm going to take these out in the Detroit area than there was in Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant was a wonderful place to go for me for the first few years of my undergrad, because it really let me kind of study at my own pace. And like I know the teachers knew that I probably shouldn't have been a student there. I went there because I auditioned to the University of Michigan. I auditioned to Michigan State. I auditioned at Eastern Michigan. I auditioned at Central Michigan and Western Michigan. I was going to stay in state for my undergrad because, number one, we had really great schools with really great teachers. And if I had to pay a little bit, I didn't want to have to pay a fortune. I didn't want to have to pay out-of-state fees. I didn't want to have to pay, you know, conservatory fees or anything like that. So at that time, the University of Michigan was getting a new flute professor, and Michigan State University was getting a new flute professor. I knew who the flute professor was at Western, but I didn't want to go to Western. I didn't want to live in Kalamazoo. I have no idea why. I just didn't want to live in Kalamazoo. Oh, there's my monthly. So I chose Central Michigan University because before my audition, I went and had a lesson with the teacher, and which I recommend all my students do. I had a lesson with the teacher. I attended a few classes just to kind of see what things were like. And I liked it so much that after all of the auditions, I chose Central Michigan because of the teacher, because of the atmosphere, because of the students that were there, over, you know, two schools that have a, what's the word? Higher, I mean, they're considered to have, you know, just because of their names, University of Michigan, Michigan State, they're, you know, Big Ten schools with, you know, I did this in the wrong order. You know, they're a Big Ten school, so people tend to think that they are better, if that makes sense. I'm going to put this here because I don't know what to call this section yet. Maybe I should print a weekly. No. Here, we'll put the grocery ones in. So after going to Wayne State University, I went to Louisiana State University, and I have my master's in modern flute, literature, performance, and pedagogy from there. So I have an advanced degree which basically prepares you for further graduate study or university teaching is what that prepares you for. Let me fill this in. Maybe I do want to get a weekly. I'm going to print out a weekly. Okay, so I have a week. And I think I printed it correctly. So I went to Louisiana State University. I lived in Baton Rouge for 2 years. I loved Baton Rouge. I consider Baton Rouge my, like, home away from home. It was wonderful. When I was there, the professor I had is still there, Dr. Catherine Kemmler, an amazing flute player, an amazing teacher, a very kind, very nurturing teacher. Sorry, the printer's doing something. A very kind teacher, and I was, you know, really given quite a bit of freedom with what I wanted to do performance-wise. Before I went to Louisiana State University, I took a year off. I think that's a good thing for most students to do, is, you know, spend a year teaching, spend a year working, spend a year really trying to apply a lot of what your teachers have taught you. Because when you're a performance major at a university or at a conservatory, the how did I do this? Let me take those out. When you're at a conservatory or a university, there is so much that you have to do, you know, with like all of the, you know, what they call core courses, you know, your science classes, your math classes, your English, your foreign language, your arts, and all of the stuff that isn't, you know, what your major area or your minor area. There's just so much that you have to do that, you know, you don't have really time to process much. You know, you don't have time to really focus because you're always trying to jump through and meet these hurdles. And so I always recommend students take a year off, take a semester off. You know, if you can spend a few months studying abroad, I know that's not going to happen now. You know, learn a foreign language, and really try to hone your skills on your own time. Sip time. This tea, we're trying to go through all of our tea bags. This is Victorian London Fog again. We're trying to be more mindful. It's such a wonderful tea. And this is really good with, we have like an oat milks with maple syrup that is sometimes really good, but I'm trying to stay away from that because of the sugar and the calories. So always spend a year, you know, if you can, before you pursue your master's degree. So after Louisiana, I started playing a lot of Baroque flute and recorder because I had started studying that the year before I went to Louisiana, and there was a Collegium Musicum, which is all that means is, you know, like a collection of music. It's a music organization that performs old music on instruments of the time, or copies of instruments from the time. So I was playing in the symphony orchestra. I was playing in the wind ensemble. I was playing in a flute, harp, viola trio. Occasionally in a wind quintet. I was performing in the Collegium Musicum on baroque flute and recorder, and a little bit of shawm. Look that up, S-H-A-W-M, if you want to see a really cool Renaissance instrument. And we had the wonderful chance to have some great musicians come to Baton Rouge. It just happened to, the stars just kind of aligned that happened. The recorder player, Eva Lejeune, she studied with Franz Bruchen. So if you know recorder players, Franz Bruchen was very important. So she with Wieland Kauken, one of the famous Kauken brothers, that's an early musician. He plays viola da gamba, and I'm trying to remember who the harpsichordist was. He's from the Boston Museum Trio. I can't remember his name. Because this group of musicians, the second time with a different keyboard player came, and she was like, you need to come to Indiana, you need to work with me, you need to audition, you need to do this. So I auditioned at Indiana University in Bloomington for the early, it was called the Early Music Institute when I was there, but I can't really remember what it's called now. It has like a more formal name. But I spent 4 years at Indiana University. I got 2 master's degrees, one in historical transverse flute performance, so performing on Renaissance, Baroque, and classical flutes. So, playing a flute from Mozart's time for Mozart, Bach's time for Bach. Renaissance music on a simple Renaissance flute. And then I also have one in early music history, so it's Baroque and classical is my area of emphasis. I started a doctorate, but didn't finish it because at that time, other than that year off, I had, and even that year off, I was taking Baroque flute lessons, I was taking modern lessons, I was, working at a flute store called Flute World, I was, really, I was, still studying and still, getting ready for auditions. So it was basically like 12 straight years of, post high school, 12 years of, college and graduate level study that I needed to kind of like, clear everything and start to do things for myself and apply everything that I was studying. And also it was getting expensive, graduate work, especially doctoral work, and a lot of the courses that I needed weren't going to be offered in the next 2 years. And it's like, so you want me to register for what? I did have a good year and a half where all I took were modern flute lessons, Baroque flute lessons, recorder lessons, orchestra, and chamber music. I mean, that was wonderful to get that much time to practice and to study and really what you need as a performance major. But when you're a doctoral student and you need core courses to take and they're not offering what is required for your degree, it seems kind of wasteful and pointless. So that last year that I was there, I said, okay, I'm graduating at the end of the semester with some sort of a degree, and that's how I had that double degree, the double master's. And then, I don't know what I was thinking, I applied to the Royal Conservatory in The Hague. We had Bartold Kauken come that year, and he started working with the Indianapolis Baroque Orchestra. And Ava said, hey, you need to go study with this guy. And so I auditioned and got everything ready, and there's 3 flute teachers that I wanted to study, that I thought of. There's Bartold Kauken, who I wanted to study with, Wilbert Hatzelzett, who was my second choice, and then the other one was, oh, what is her name? She's the one that I was assigned with. She's from Australia. She's a wonderful flute player, but, she wasn't who I wanted to study with. And I think what they do is they put the foreign students with her. English is her first language, and that's just what they do. Bart and Wilbert, get the the local students. So now there are a few that have studied with Vilbert, but it's usually after a year with her and then transferring. And, you know, because the conservatory system in The Hague is different than the university system, they wanted me to do a 4-year degree and then a 2-year degree. And I was like, I don't want to spend another 4 years working on exactly what I did for 12, you know, with, you know, all of my degrees. And so I decided I turned that down and moved to Cincinnati, was forming a chamber group with friends, and there you go, there we went. So a little bit about my music studying. So you're probably wondering what this is for. Let me move a few of these up here. Since I watched the church service and saw how I looked on camera, because you could see all of me, not just shoulders up, I was horrified. And that's why I say, you know, my anorexic and bulimic thoughts started coming back again. And so what I'm going to do is I set this calendar up, and I might print the last 2 months. Yeah, I'm going to print the last 2 months of 2020 because I do have the 2020 half letter. And I'm going to use this as a tracker and as a health and a fitness notebook. I know a lot of people would say, well, why don't you use one of your traveler's notebooks? I'm going to use this because I can pull things in and out. So if I find an insert that I like, I'm going to do a little bit of research, then even make some of my own. But what I'm going to do is use this for keeping track of my workout schedule, the monthly, you know, so I can track. And I think I don't want to have one of those. I've been thinking a lot about how I want to do it. And I know for me, the first thing I have to do is just use our treadmill. If I go outside, I don't know how I'm going to feel working out in person. And also I don't want to go to a gym because of this virus that we have. So I'm going to, and we have plenty of DVDs on yoga and stretching and weight training and ab workout routines. And so what I want to do is I don't want to do I'm going to work out every day or I'm going to work out 5 days a week. I'm going to try to track it where I have no more than 2 consecutive days when I don't work out. So say here we are in January, the first full week. Say I work out on Monday, and the next time I don't work out on Tuesday and I don't work out on Wednesday. I have to work out on Thursday because I don't want to have any more than 2 consecutive days. So, you know, that will give you probably 3 to 4 or 5. And at first it's just going to be treadmill and some light things. And then I'm going to research a program or a system that I want to work on. I'm not going to do Weight Watchers again because with that, so much of it was, you know, the weighing in process, and that kind of, you know, triggered some of my, well, if I don't eat the day before and the day of weigh-in, I'm going to weigh less. You know, it led to some bad habits because of the goal of the weigh-in date. And I've got a grocery guide here so I can just keep track of some things. I've got some note pages in here because I want to track, you know, what I'm doing and how it's making me feel. Am I feeling good? Am I feeling bad? You know, what is the end result of that? And, you know, just some notes to keep track. And then if I print anything that I don't want to put in here, I have my pocket folder here in the back. So that's what this is going to be. So you saw me set up my, I guess, health planner, I guess you would call it, and I'm looking forward to using that. I'm in a positive space with it, and of course the first thing I need to do is get the house in order, but that doesn't mean I don't have time for at least 15 minutes on the treadmill. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed today's little, I don't even know, like Vlogtober, tea time with John, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to finish my tea, edit this wonderful video, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a wonderful Sunday. Bye-bye.